I figured it would be a good idea to kind of go underneath the hood and see what's going on in the system, kind of show the mechanics of how it works and go from there. So come follow me. Okay, so what's going on here is we have an extension cord that goes all the way into our bathroom, and then we run it all the way to out here. It's connected to a pump that's inside the fish tank right now, and then this is tubing, which we then have it connected to like a little elbow connector, and we use to fill the bags. Over here is stuff that we fortify the bags with, because when we're using our wastewater inside the system itself, the grow bed actually absorbs a lot of nutrients from what's being pooped out by the fish. So those two little bottles over there just fortify anything that may have been lost in the absorption process that occurs up there. Here I have, it's still connected and plugged in, the small little pump that we use to fill the tonic quarters. And then this is just that elbow. That is the elbow connector that we have. And then this little guy just kind of, with a turn, turns it off. So I can move it from the fish tank to a tonic bottle. Now, you don't want to leave it like this because it can burn out the pump. So what I do while I'm getting everything done is I'll turn it on and let the water flow just so it continues to give oxygen to the goldfish while I'm doing things for the tonic order, because the goldfish still need oxygen, and with the filters being off, I want to make sure that they still have some kind of water flow. Even though it's not a whole lot compared to what they're used to, it's something. So in here are the goldfish. This right here is a pump that actually goes up out of the tank, coming up to the grow bed. That's where water gets pumped in up to the top over here to create that constant circulation and availability of water to the plants. This is where the water normally comes out, and we have a little sponge here because when the water comes out of the hose itself, it tends to splash. So this is just to help prevent a lot of splashing and hitting our furniture and stuff like that. So it's really helped out a lot. It actually has a ton of gunk in it, and it's pretty cool because you can see all those baby MTSs, or Malaysian trumpet snails. This also is filled with beneficial bacteria. If we wanted to start a brand new fish tank, we could actually use this to create a new bacteria culture in the new fish tank that we started, and would make it easier for us to cycle the actual tank. Here you can see here we're using a ton of these little clay pebbles. Sorry, don't mind my dry hands. I can't have any lotion on my actual hands while I'm doing aquaponic stuff, because the lotion or any kind of oil could actually get into the gills of the fish and kill them. So I have to work with dusty, crusty hands while I'm doing this kind of stuff. But here you can see plenty of white roots. This is actually coming from that sweet potato plant that we have over here. Here, let's see if I can take it out. I actually need to take this sweet potato out, but it's just so cool with that waterfall cascade look. that the vines are starting to create from the sweet potato. I originally started this as just an experiment to see if it would work, and sure enough it does. All right, yeah, this thing is becoming super invasive in here though. Yeah, it's pretty large and I can barely pull it out. Over here you can kind of see. Okay. So yeah, that's a sweet potato that's vining like that. And I saw a YouTube video with Backyard Farmer Pat where she actually cooks these leaves like spinach, which I definitely want to try, but this thing is massive. Oh, and that's the filter letting me know the water level's super low. So you can see here, it's time to stop draining and start filling. All right, so I just took this out of the blue barrel in our backyard, and now I'm gonna twist it onto here. All right, so I had to kind of do that off camera. It was too hard to do it with just one hand. But so I attached this tubing to a little connector that we have for our faucet. I'm gonna go ahead and turn the faucet on, and I'm gonna go put vitamin C or absorbic acid in the actual fish tank to help dechlorinate the water organically. All right, so this is vitamin C. We already figured out through trial and error that this is the perfect dosage for our 55-gallon fish tank. We used to weigh it all the time, but now we just use this because it's the perfect size and ain't nobody got time to weigh it every time. So 2 scoops for us on this tank is perfect. Here we have inside the actual terracotta pots, there's lots of like brown little chunks. These little chunks are actually eggshells. So anytime I buy eggshells, I buy certified organic, free range, just to make sure that anything we put into our system doesn't have any chemicals, hormones, anything that would kind of taint the integrity of our system, but also to our tonic. So what happens is it takes about a year for these to start composting down and degrading and giving back calcium into our system. But this system itself has been built for over 3 years. It's kind of like a well-aged barrel. It has tons of beneficial bacteria, but also tons of worms in here that actually break down those eggshells. Worms love eggshells, and that makes the calcium in the shells itself biodegradable and available to the plants. And then over here we have a cuttlebone. So the cuttlebone is actually kind of like our control in the system when it comes to calcium. It really hasn't degraded down at all since we initially put it in here about 6 to 8 months ago. We would know our calcium was running kind of low in our system if the cuttlebone itself was starting to kind of disintegrate, but it hasn't at all. I mean, it kind of has, but not really. And then these right here are snails that are actually grazing on the cuttlebone. Specifically, these are called MTS or Malaysian trumpet snails, and they're grazing on the cuttlebone itself for the calcium of their shell, or for the calcium to build good shells. And these are little babies. So yeah, we keep this in here just to kind of know where we're at with calcium. But because I've added so many eggshells over the years from when we first set up this system in our apartment and have continued to do so, it's really not disintegrating at all. Come over here, and this is our exit drain where it goes down into the tank and then flows back in. So basically over here, water gets sucked up by this pump, flows up to the top. The current flows all the way over here where it gets pushed down the tank. We have 2 just in case. once like an emergency valve, just in case something ever goes wonky and one of these gets clogged. We always have a secondary backup system where there's little to no chance of our house flooding, because if that pump over here keeps flowing and keeps pushing water up, it could get to the point, if one of these drains was clogged, that it would start to overflow and come over the sides, and we definitely don't want that. So Dwayne, being Mr. Safety, just made sure to install 2 exit drains to just always make sure, and we haven't had any issues with the water level being too low or anything like that. These pots are really cool. We use terracotta pots in our grow bed. I've seen plastic pots used before, but one of the first things when Dwayne and I set up this tank was that I wanted to make sure that we use terracotta because of the wicking behavior of terracotta itself. I mean, these little terracotta pebbles behave the same way, and not only creating a great surface area for bacteria, but also too, they have that wicking effect to pull water up. And you can kind of see here that water level line where the water's being wicked up, and then right here it kind of stops, and then there's a level of dryness, even though right here it kind of feels moist too. But also too, you'll see a lot of the nutrients on the side. I personally like to see that saltcrete line because it just tells me that I have a working system. In here, it looks like soil, but it's not. It's canna cocoa. This is actually a dual root zone, basically where we take terracotta pebbles, we fill them about to this line, and then we layered it with a biostrate felt. And then that biostrate felt kind of separated this from going down into the system and potentially clogging the drains again. So that biostrate just really helps kind of keep everything up top and never kind of get pulled down. Really cool because it just mimics natural environment and adds an extra layer of biodiversity.